Russia-North Korea ties appear to be getting tighter, with a visit to Russia by the North's leader Kim Jong-un looking possible as early as May. What does this mean for our relations and for the Ukraine crisis? We're joined by Dr. Bruce Bennett. Thanks much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
So Russia has reportedly invited North Korean forces to its event to mark the 80th anniversary of the Soviet victory in World War II next year in May. Why such an invitation?
Well, Russia's trying to establish itself as a global superpower, having much broader control over the world like it used to during the Soviet era. When it invites North Korea, it's trying to appear to have yet one more ally towards that objective. That, of course, is not going to go over well with China, which also wants to be the global superpower. Both Russia and China want to displace the U.S. from its position, but they don't want necessarily the other to have that control.
Well, then, is a visit to Moscow by the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to, lead the North Korean military for the event likely?
I think it's entirely possible. We don't really know. It depends. Kim is facing a fair amount of internal instability. You can see that in his decision to renounce unification at the end of last year, in his decision to send North Korean troops to Russia, both of which are very risky actions seeking to gain some greater control internally. He's taking some chances. Will he take the chance of leaving the country and leaving it in control of his sister or someone else? That's a really good question right now, which is hard to tell.
Dr. Bennett, we are just a month away from the time when Donald Trump returns to the Oval Office and has been very keen to end the Ukraine crisis. Now, the question is, what kind of course of action will Trump take regarding the crisis in Ukraine?
Oh, I think President-elect Trump will want to get together with Putin. He'll want to get together with Zelensky. He'll want to try to put a proposal on the table that his people are probably crafting now and probably reviewing with Russian and Ukrainian representatives now. I think he's going to want to move very quickly. We've noticed recently that Ukraine is prepared to talk about some details of a compromise situation. The question will be, is Putin ready to do that? And so I think he's already pressing ahead. He's not just sitting back and waiting for his time as president. And I think he plans to hit the ground running with something on the table and ready to go and talk with these two leaders to make final details complete.
Well, it looks like Trump will be just as active, or rather, aggressive as when it comes to handling North Korean issues. Now, apparently, the Trump administration is considering arranging direct talks with the North's leader, Kim Jong-un. What do you think Seoul should do then? Should we just, watch for now? Or should Seoul take separate actions?
Well, I think the first action Seoul needs to take is to be working with President Trump, President-elect Trump, the way that the Zelensky and Putin are apparently working with him. This is a time to coordinate positions. He is going to be the president of the United States, and while it's a little unusual to have that kind of foreign contact beforehand, I think it's important. But Trump clearly thinks he's got leverage on Kim Jong-un. The question is, does he really? Because Kim was seriously offended by Trump walking out of the Hanoi summit in 2019.
Right.
A lot of his advisors who had helped set up that summit paid very serious prices because of the failure of that summit. So I think this is not a foregone conclusion that he's going to meet with Kim Jong-un. I think that President Yoon and his personnel ought to be trying to coordinate, because this may be a much longer term negotiation than President Trump probably wants to have.
Right, still some, hard feelings lingering from the North Korean leader. Now, Dr. Bennett, before I let you go, Ukraine has long been asking South Korea to provide weapons. Now, do you think Seoul will wait until Trump 2.0 begins then? Is offering Ukraine weapons on hold for now?
Well, look, President Trump has been very clear that he views countries as being part of a coalition. He wants them to work together for global security and not just for bilateral security. South Korean public opinion is such that sending weapons to Ukraine isn't very popular from what I'm looking at in the polls. I think Trump will be wanting Yoon to try and build some support for that kind of position and to start talking with his people about that possibility. This is a coalition of free countries that Trump is going to want to see strengthened. And he's going to want Yoon as part of that cooperative effort in South Korea. So I think this is time for South Korea to start realizing that it's very hard under a Trump administration to only have Korean security. You've got to be looking at global security.
Alrighty, Dr. Bennett, thanks so much for sharing your insight with us. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you.